A very good morning to all of our listeners. Welcome to today's episode of the Outfield Show stream, where all the cricket is condensed in a podcast and brought to you. On today's episode of Triumphant Tuesday, we'll be looking at an inspirational story of one of India's spearhead pace bowlers. But before we jump into today's episode, don't forget to follow our Instagram page at the Outfield Show stream for regular updates on upcoming content. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also YouTube. Just subscribe to our channel and listen. Enjoy today's episode of Triumphant Tuesday. It wasn't long back when the Indian team was not known for its bowling. India always lacked intimidating and aggressive pace bowlers. It was always about India's batting prowess and those Virats, Rohits, Sachins, and the Dhonis to go out there and score those winning runs. Nobody spoke about Indian bowling. But there came a transition, and one of the key pieces in that transition was Mohammad Shami, who brought intent into the Indian Test side. He taught the Indian pace bowling attack to bowl aggressively and to look for a wicket every ball they bowled. And when Virat Kohli took over the reins, he utilized Mohammad Shami to his fullest. After his match-winning performance against West Indies at the Firozshah Kotla in Delhi, Shami made the headlines. He was undoubtedly one of the greatest treasures of contemporary Indian cricket, though it has been a tough journey for the boy from a remote village of Uttar Pradesh, and his hardships made him the man he is today. Let's look at the story of Mohammad Shami. Once upon a time, somewhere very far away in the muddy fields of Sahaspur, the journey of Mohammad Shami began. Sahaspur was a distant village from Moradabad in Uttar Pradesh. Until Shami came into the scene, Sahaspur was more known for its sweet sugar cane and a lot of sugar mills. But Sahaspur never dreamed that she would produce a success story sweeter than any sugar she had produced before. This was the success story of a thin, young, and a shy boy who had already made a name known for bowling fast. Mohammad Shami is the son of Tausif Ahmad, also a fast bowler in his young days, and Shami had inherited the skills of bowling fast from his father and his uncle. Though neither Tausif nor his brother played cricket at higher levels, they were renowned for their bowling abilities. Tausif had made up his mind when he came to know about his son's talents. He said to himself, "This ability of bowling fast has to be nurtured." He was a sufferer himself and he always wanted to play for India. And through Shami, he wanted to fulfill his dream. He knew that playing tennis ball cricket at Shahspur would not help Shami's cause at all. So Tausif took his 15-year-old son to Badruddin, a cricket coach in Moradabad, almost 22 kilometers from Shahspur. Badruddin very fondly recalls that when he first saw Shami bowling at the nets as a 15-year-old kid, he knew that this boy is not ordinary. That is why in the first place Badruddin decided to train him, and for 1 year he worked hard on Shami to prepare him for the Uttar Pradesh trials, as Modarabad too was a small village and they did not have cricket clubs over there, so he couldn't get through a cricket club. Shami was very cooperative, very regular, disciplined, and very hardworking. He never took a day off from training, even when he was sick. During the under 19 trials, he bowled really well, but due to politics and casteism, he missed out on selection. They asked Badruddin to bring Shami next year, but at that moment, Badruddin did not want Shami to miss 1 year, so he advised his parents to send him to Kolkata. Leaving his parents and traveling to a place where he knew no one was probably the hardest decision a 16-year-old can take in his life. However, it was the decision that eventually went on to change his life. coming to Kolkata was just a part of Mohammad Shami's struggle because it was very hard for newcomers without proper contacts to get the opportunity to play for any of the big clubs like the Mohan Bagan or the Kalighat in Kolkata. So Shami had to play for the lesser known Dalhousie Athletic Club. While playing for this club, Shami was noticed by the General Secretary of the town club and a former Assistant Secretary of the Cricket Association of Bengal, Debabrata Das, who is renowned in the Eden Gardens Maidan as an avid cricket lover. This evening was probably the turning point of Shami's career. Das saw Shami first time in the Rajasthan ground and he was surprised to see Shami's skills. A medium height bowler who was bowling brilliantly at that time, smooth run up, smooth action, straight seam. He had all the ingredients to become a successful pace bowler, that too at a young age. This was probably the last match of the Dalhousie club, and his commitments with the club were almost over. Then and there, he selected Shami in his team, and his contract was 75,000 for a season which lasted the whole year and 100 rupees per day for food. That became Shami's first major contract. But there was one problem. Shami didn't have a place to stay in Kolkata. Das solved this problem. He says, "For me, my cricketers are like my sons. I always take care of them." When Shami said, "Main rahunga kahan?" he took Shami into his residence and made him stay with him. Shami began playing first division cricket for Debabrata Das's town club, where he impressed everyone. One season, town club did really well and Shami especially was very impressive. Shami loves to eat biryani, so whenever the town club needed a wicket, Debabrata Das and the other team members used to shout, "Ek wicket, matlab ek plate biryani," which means if Shami picks up a wicket, he'll get one plate biryani after the game. And Shami always obliged with wickets. Debabrata now insisted the Bengal selectors to take him in the under-22 team that season, but since Shami wasn't playing for any of the big clubs, they did not select him. One day, Debabrata Das went to Sambaran Banerjee, who was one of the selectors at that time, and just asked him to watch Shami's bowling once. Banerjee was impressed by what he saw, and being reputed as the man who had given Sourav Ganguly his break in first-class cricket, Banerjee always had an eye to spot talent. Shami was then selected for Bengal's squad for the Vijay Hazare Trophy that year. However, thanks to the politics that prevailed in Bengal cricket, Shami never made the playing 11 because he needed the backup of one of the big clubs to make it to the 11. And then Das advised Shami to play for the Mohan Bagan next season. Shami was very emotional when Das asked him to leave the town club and play for Mohan Bagan. But somehow, Das convinced Shami. After Shami moved to the Grand Club next season, one day he got an opportunity to bowl at none other than the Prince of Kolkata, Sourav Ganguly himself, at the Eden Gardens nets. Dada immediately spotted the talent of the young boy and asked the selectors to take special care of him. Shami never looked back after that day. He became a regular member of the Bengal Ranji Trophy team. He had a decent one-day international debut against Pakistan too. But finally, a dream test debut against West Indies at the Eden Gardens gave Shami's life the destination it so richly deserved and craved. It isn't easy being Mohammad Shami, is it? Because Shami made a shocking revelation where he said that he contemplated suicide as many as 3 times as he was going through a massive low both in his personal and professional life. In March 2018, Shami's wife Haseen Jahan accused the cricketer of cheating and torture and also filed a complaint against the cricketer and his family, alleging they tried to kill her. Just a few days after that, Shami met with a road accident on his way to Delhi from Dehradun and ended up suffering head injuries. However, he fought all his nemesis and immersed himself in cricket training and has emerged as a bigger and better player. Shami had an incredibly successful 2015 World Cup, but very few people know that the troubles began when Shami was actually playing the World Cup with a knee injury that he had picked up during India's Test series against Australia just prior to the World Cup. Shami kept getting discomfort and swelling on his knees in between games. 2 days before every game, the pacer would get fluids sucked out of his knee and then practice the day before the World Cup match and then play. In spite of going through so much, he managed to finish the tournament as India's second highest wicket taker with 17 scalps at an average of 17.29 and an economy rate of 4.81. Shami had to pay for the extra efforts he was putting in, as he lost out on 18 months of international cricket after this World Cup. It wouldn't have been surprising had Shami faded away following the turbulent times he was subjected to, like a lot of other cricketers. However, his family was completely standing in his support behind him like a wall. Shami kept playing the game with greater passion and dedication. And Shami is still young, he's just 31, and he has plenty to offer to Indian cricket in the coming years, starting from the upcoming World Test Championship. Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of Triumphant Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow with an episode of Wednesday Wisdom. But before you go, do follow those links in the description mentioned below and share this podcast with your friends and family. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, take care, and get vaccinated whenever you get the chance.